I listen to people now and they say, oh, I want to be a footballer. And yes, I wanted to be a footballer, but for me, I needed it. I just had to be a football player. I was more scared and I had a fear of letting my mum and dad down or letting my family down. It was the fear that drove me on to get where I got to. I was good at school. Obviously, mischief, yes. Lovable rogue was a common phrase that was brought up, but on the whole, never brought trouble to the front door, which mum and dad was happy about. When I was at school, there'd be the day when, in the holidays and stuff, and I'll be having a lie-in, and my dad, he'd come bursting through the door and say, right, get your gear on, you're coming with me. We'll be out in his van, pricing jobs, going down the yard, sweeping it up. And he carried that on, to be fair, even when I started at Arsenal as a schoolboy. I think that's what he meant for it to be, to keep your feet in the ground and keep in touch with reality as well. Saying, look, if you don't buck your ideas up and really knuckle down, then you could be doing this for a living. I started at Arsenal at the age of 9. Back in the day then, they was the creme de la creme. They was the top academy around. I loved it. I mean, you can imagine at Arsenal, day to day, you walk in, underfloor heating throughout the training ground, brand new, flip-flops, training gear, upstairs, lunch, you know, banquet sort of dinners and stuff. And then I went on, shipped out on loan to Brentford at 17, 18. The best shower in the training ground was a hose that sort of connected to one of the hot pipes that come out. But I loved that. It was brilliant. It was a good learning curve and one that I really enjoyed. So I went back, had a meeting with Arsene Wenger, and he actually said, I don't want you to go. I'd love you to be around the place, but to better your career and for more beneficial to you, it could be worth dropping down to maybe coming back up. I sat down with Alan Pardew, we discussed it, and the move went through pretty quickly, and I thought it's a step down to go 4 or 5 steps back up, and eventually that's what the outcome was. I remember the first game we lost to Plymouth at home, 2-1. So afterwards you're thinking, this is going to be a long season. And then from the next game on, I think we were on a 30-odd game unbeaten run. It was the most surreal feeling, really. We were promoted by March. It's not until probably the year after or sitting in now that you look back and you think, that was just some achievement. I wanted to get it all, the whole sort of season, really, put in one picture. Just that feeling of going to games knowing that you're going to win. It's just a matter of how many goals you're going to score. There's not many times in a football career that you can say that. It topped off a year that is still a record-breaking year. 106 points, over 100 goals. I scored 10, which was a great achievement for me. So, on the whole, probably one of the highlights of my career.
This is the day that Reading have dreamed of. They are about to take their bow in the Premiership.
I was going into the last year of my contract into the first year of the Premier League that I've ever played and the club's ever played. We did go to negotiate a new deal beforehand during that Championship season, and I just felt as though there wasn't really a sort of a two-way communication. So I sat down at the start of the Premier League season and I decided to go that season and gamble, really, that I could prove myself at that level and then see what was going to be out, not necessarily going to be out there that was going to be better, but maybe to try and get a better deal at Reading. I show them I can play at the top level.
Sidwell has made it 2-2. Game on here.
Literally after every game that we played, a representative from that club or the manager would call my agent or somehow call me and they would discuss, look, what's going on with the future. So it was a hard one because it was distractions all over the place every week, but it was great because I kept focused, kept determined, and finished on a high from my Reading career.
Sidwell again. Looks at the 1-2. Sidwell, and it's a wonderful goal to cap it. Steve Sidwell, man of the match. 2 goals, 3 points for Reading again.
Right, here we are. New club, new season. Wish me luck.
To go and play there was a dream come true, and when Jose Mourinho comes knocking on the door and starts calling you, and you have sort of communications with him and reasons why to sign there, then it was a done deal. I've come from Reading, which was Portakabins, and very much sort of newspapers are down on the canteen floor, and we went into Cobham, and it was obviously the first year that they moved into Cobham as well, the new building, and it was fingerprint scans to get in the building, swimming pool, jacuzzis, sort of spa areas. So I remember walking around the training ground, and Abramovich come down because it was all new, and everyone was loving it. It was great. It was all perfect. But he didn't like how sort of bland it was around the pitches. He's sort of saying, no, I don't like this. I love the building of the training ground. I don't like this. So we went away to LA for a week or so, come back, and before you know it, there's trees, 40-foot trees being planted, not as if like 3-foot laurels that are going to grow. I think he spent about apparently £2.5 million trees in that sort of week to 10 days. We come back and it was a completely different place. It was things like that happened, and I'm thinking, wow, this is just a different world now.
And on comes Sidwell, the former Arsenal trainee who really carved out the start of a good career at Reading and has now joined up with Jose Mourinho's Chelsea.
We was in every day. You get a monthly planner. This is how organised Mourinho was. At the start of every month, you get the calendar month on your place, and it'd be day-to-day training, what you're doing in training, and when your days off. And the days off, I think, were in blue. So the first thing you look for is what days were blue on the month, and you're lucky if you had 1 or 2 off. The training was just full tempo, high tempo, and it took me a while to get used to it. It did, and you had to be at your best every day because obviously everyone's fighting for a starting lineup, and the depth of quality in that squad, was there to see. To stake a claim was difficult. Chances were limited. I look back on my Chelsea year, and it was probably the worst year in Chelsea history in the last 10-15 years.
It's Ashley Young, and it's deflected home as well. Agbon Lahore, and 2-0 Aston Villa.
Well, stunned Jose Mourinho.
The year I went there, Mourinho got sacked. Avram Grant come in. We lost the Champions League final to Man United. We lost the league, I think, by a point to Man United. We lost the Charity Shield at the beginning of the season to Man United. We got knocked out in the FA Cup to Barnsley in the quarterfinals, and we lost to Spurs in the League Cup final. So they didn't win anything, I think, which is the first time in the last 10 or 12 years that's probably happened. So I've walked away from that Chelsea career without a winner's medal, which is obviously what I wanted to go there for. But obviously Aston Villa come in with a bid that was accepted. I spoke to Martin O'Neill and I could see the direction that Aston Villa were going as well. And I thought, do you know what, to improve my career or to take a step down, to maybe go back up, because they was pushing for European places as well, could be the next step, and I decided to do it. I've come to Villa, I want to hit the ground running. I want to show people what I can do. All of a sudden, bang, injury. I'm out for 2-3 months. I tore my calf in the first game. I come back, I think my comeback game against Borough at home, I started the game with 1-0 down, I scored the equaliser.
Cross again by Milner, Sidwell's there, and Villa are level. And in his first league start for the club, Steve Sidwell scores.
Then I give a second goal away. I think it was a sloppy back pass, and then one of the lads got onto it and scored for Borough.
Sidwell hangs his head now, because Middlesbrough have surely won it with just 2 minutes to go.
I look back at my time in Villa, and although I enjoyed it, the football side of it didn't really take off. I didn't really hit the levels that I should have done. My Villa career started on a bad note with that injury, and it never really got going after that. Wow, funny day that was. I'm in the training ground, Wolves training ground, in their training kit. I'm having a medical. All of a sudden, the agents popped his head through the door and sort of give me the wink to say, Siddy, I need a word. And obviously this is in their medical room. All the lads now are going, oh, what's going on here? It's not done yet, it's not done. So I've gone out and he said, look, Mark Hughes has been on the phone for them, want to sign you. So obviously being a London lad, ideally wanting to get back home. So we went out into the car park and we sat in his car and we had Mark Hughes on the phone. And I said, look, I'm in Birmingham now, so if I get on the motorway and come down, I have to sign. I can't not come up because it looks terrible. And he was like, no, 100% guaranteed, but get it over the line today. So all of a sudden I get a tap on the window, see a big shadow next to me, undone the window about this much. Big Mick's standing there saying, "Is there a problem?" Like in his big sort of voice. So I've gone, "Yeah, Mick, there might be one." He's gone, "Come on in, let's go sort it out like men." And I said to him, "Look, Fulham have come in, last knock-ins," and he went absolutely mad. And I said, "Look, it's just getting back to London and family sort of logistics and that." And he was good as gold. He said, "Look," I think at the time, I think his family lived in London as well, and he sort of said, "Look, you know, if I could get a move back there or manage back there, then it would be easier for me." So we got up, we shook hands and was on the motorway, medical done, and then signed, sealed and done at Fulham.
Coming on number 7, making his debut for Fulham. Please welcome Steve Sidwell.
So I was back home, I was back in surroundings, sort of everyone's around me that I know, and I hit the ground running.
Sidwell! Oh, it's a humdinger. Plenty in the middle here for Fulham. Zamora gets his head up. It's Sidwell! Steve Sidwell scores against the club where it all started for him.
I had a really, really good stint. And obviously Mark Hughes left that year, Martin Yole come in. I think I had a hernia injury that kept me out for about 6-7 months, which I missed the majority of the season, but then I come back, hit the ground running again, and I felt the complete player at Fulham.
Now Rita. Berbatov's in there, and Sidwell taps it in!
Chipped in for Sidwell in space, and Steve Sidwell has scored.
If you ask me my opinion, that year we went down. We had 3 managers, Martin Yole at the start, then Rennie Mullenstein come in, and then Felix Magath come in towards the end. The day you walked through the door was the worst thing that could have happened for Fulham Football Club, because it just literally broke down there and then. We played on a Saturday, an away game. I think we lost 2-0 on the coach on the way back. We got back to the training ground, we think we're going to get in our cars, go. All of a sudden, we get back to the training ground. Gaffer says, "Get kit on, we're going out to train." And like this is like 9-10 o'clock at night, dark, floodlights come on, we go out there and we have a session, basically. We're in the next day, we go out, we're thinking of having a warm down, which you normally do after a game. We go out there and he says, "Right, boys, you didn't want to run around yesterday, so we're not going to run around today. So get in your positions." And we get there in our positions, 4-4-2. He blows the whistle, stand still. So you're standing there, you're looking over at sort of Scott Parker, you're looking over at Breda Hangeland, Damien Duff, and you're thinking, what's going on here? And no one said a word for 45 minutes. And in the lads' minds, they was relegated way before it officially was near the end of the season. Mark Hughes was at Stoke, we spoke, he offered me a deal up there, and I decided to go. You know, it was Premier League football again. I was training hard, I was running extra training to try and get in the team. Glenn Whelan, Charlie Adam, the lads that were playing in midfield, Bojan, they was playing well when I just couldn't really establish getting in to a starting 11. So then I had to look elsewhere. Obviously Brighton, we spoke to Brighton and, you know, they was looking good in the Championship. We went there and the club sold itself to me, really. The training ground there, the infrastructure, the stadium was there. It was all geared up, ready to be Premier League football.
Brighton and Hove Albion, after decades away, are back amongst English football's elite. You see what it means to them.
Go away, Ibiza to see friends and family, and all of a sudden, my back just goes out there. I come back and I have a severe prolapse disc that's compressed the nerve, and basically shut off all power down my right leg, couldn't lift my leg up. And they said I was going to be out for sort of 3 months. It was hard to watch the lads play week in, week out. On the final probably week or 2 weeks of my comeback from that in January, I then fractured my ankle in training, plate and 12 screws. And then my back goes sort of again, really, sort of February, March time. So then I know the whole season's gone, I've missed out, I've not put a foot on the pitch right. To miss out and not play again that season was really hard. It was really difficult, and I did actually really hit some real low times, probably outside of football. But lucky enough, I had friends and family around me that was good and strong and supportive, and yeah, I come out the other side, and obviously it's difficult to finish your career on a low, which is I can't quite grasp yet either. For me, I never switched off, and for a 20-year period of not switching off really, other than holidays and stuff, you don't really take in what you've done and what you've achieved. So now it's slowly coming to an end, or it's come to an end, and you sit back and you go, wow, how about that time where I played at Old Trafford and I scored a goal and got man of the match. They're the moments that you sort of stand here and you go, do you know what, I didn't have that bad a career. I've done my B licence down with the Welsh FA. That's ticked off, I've got that. I'm in the process of doing my A licence, and coaching is a path that I want to go down. We're in with Brighton, they've laid on the line that they'd love me to stay at the club and be involved in some capacity with coaching, which is great. And I've been lucky enough to have a 20-odd year career, and I want to give something back, and I want to do that in coaching. I'm excited, I'm nervous, I'm anxious, I'm scared. I'm going to new territory. You can imagine I've been used to a routine, getting up, going to football since 15. I'm 35 now, so I've got a long time retired, but I'm excited and looking forward to new beginnings.